You are watching Xirtus.
When somebody's going to make a sequel to something, and like I guess they're doing it with like Marvel movies, right? Where they take the different Marvel characters and it all ties together in this big kind of tapestry of shit. But I don't know. I like the idea of like taking different films that are kind of like related in a certain way and then doing a sequel to both. Like if you're like that was a classic 80s movie, and that, if you're gonna redo 80s movies or like make sequels to them like much later, like I think that that's the way to go. Doesn't have to be 80s, but you know what I'm saying? Like mashup movies where like this is the sequel to Swingers and the sequel to
Yeah, but this is
yeah.
Barbenheimer, right? But
Right,
like
it's a
the
Barbenheimer
eventual
thing.
Yeah.
Barbenheimer.
I'm going to
Right,
take
right, right.
all
Put
of
it
the
together.
deleted scenes from You've Got Mail and I'm going to combine them with Tombstone. It's going to be like you can just put them in between it and then it will write the scenes that make sense that had to happen between them to make those scenes make sense. And, that'll be how it works. Like, not only that, but it'll probably take 20 years for people to make licensing for you to use like modern stuff like Marvel, but maybe stuff like from the 50s, you'll be putting your own faces on them, changing the actors and voices in the next year or two. Being able to watch like a filter for Netflix that just makes people who you want them to be in your friends.
Is that crazy narcissistic to just want to watch a movie where it's all your? That's so Aphex Twin,
Well,
right?
that's what I
You
want
just
to do, but I don't think everyone wants to do that.
Everyone is you.
I think
everyone just
all right,
watching
the
that.
most normative thing about me is that I want to watch Star Wars episode 3, I think, maybe 2. I don't know. I'm learning to love it. But with Hayden Christensen replaced with Mark Lanter from the Beverly Hills 90210 remake. You know what I mean? That's the most normative thing I want to do. I think a lot of people, though, when I say that, like a lot of people want to do things like that. They're like, if only I could watch, Helen Hunt in Terminator. Like, I kind of think that'd be sweet. I don't know. I would probably do that. I would probably do a lot of things like
We were
that.
kind of just discussing something similar because I was saying like, what was the example? I think it was it Tom Hanks in Eyes Wide Shut?
Yeah, that'd be fun.
With Meg Ryan instead of Nicole Kidman,
And with the bee
like...
scene from the new Wicker Man, just like thrown in, like have Tom Hanks go through the bee scene in The Shining room during Eyes Wide Shut. Like you can do whatever you want, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, that was the original. I was saying the other night that the original idea for Eyes Wide Shut was with Steve Martin in the '70s when Kubrick first thought to do it, and originally it was set to be like a comedy in the same way that Doctor Strangelove was originally set to be a very serious movie, but Peter Sellers is just so fucking funny that he said screw it, and they were just like it's a comedy, and they made it a black comedy. But they do that. One goes one way, the other one goes the other. It's weird, but I want to see that. I want to see the Eyes Wide Shut. Like this is the thing. Like so many of the things about AI kind of scare me or bother me, but I love that idea. Like that would be so cool.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. I think in your lifetime for sure.
Probably next year. Actually,
yeah, it's gonna be here soon enough for it to happen that we can experience it. But there's like a new thing that comes with that, which I think might be a weird in itself, and that's that version of that movie might be your favorite one, and there might not be a single person on the planet that cares about that version of that mashup. They're like, I don't want to see Tom Hanks and Meg Ryan in Eyes Wide Shut, and I'll never want to see it. So now you're stuck being like, this is my favorite movie, and I'll never meet anyone that's ever seen it because it was kind of custom tailored for me. And even if you found someone, it's almost like trying to explain to somebody like a dream you had. Like at a certain point, they're just like, "Look, man, I'm sick of hearing about your dream. I'm gonna like."
Right. Well, what's ironic about that is that the book that Eyes Wide Shut came from is called Dream Story, and the movie is exactly what you just said. It's trying to explain your dream to somebody.
Well, but I think that's a weird place we're going to be in because it destroys the concept of going to the water cooler and like, hey, did you check that show out last night? What did you think? Because 5 people go up to the water cooler and they all watch the same, show, but they all had like their own custom tailored versions of it. So it kind of destroys a little bit of that like commonality that
but you got to imagine it's like Netflix or something where they make like 5 different. They know that there's like different people in different parts of the day watching the shows, so they know who's doing what with their day, and so they prepare the rituals so that everyone comes to the same conclusion through different rituals, right? They're watching this show and eventually they realize the same message that someone else watched another show, and so at the end of the day they come back to the water cooler and they all just are in agreement because they've gone through their. It doesn't matter where they
That
are.
was the
They already
moral
figured
of the
out-
day. Like all the programming resulted in like that particular Aesop fable, essentially.
Yeah, it's the
Right.
exact opposite of like what it used to be, which was that people say, "Well, what do you think about this?" And they have difference of opinion over what happened on the television. Now it's more about different ways of coming to agreement from different perspectives. So they can be evil. You could use that to force perspectives. We could also be used to pretty much like could control your mind, right?
Right. Remember what they did with Carrie Fisher at the end of Rogue One, where you see Carrie Fisher and she had died while they were doing it. So, but they were able to generate it, and it's so convincing, and I really like that. But the thing is that it seems like actors and actresses, like the more movies that they've been in, the more you have to draw from if you were to like replicate to like the fine tune, like it really make it convincing that it's them. Like the new Indiana Jones where he's so much younger or whatever, like that. I don't know, it just seems like it's like a quixotic immortalizing of people, because it's like, you already say when you're caught on film that you live forever in a sense. Like Marilyn Monroe lives forever because she lives forever through her films. But when you're like, oh well, you could actually make a new Marilyn Monroe movie
Right now.
based on just graphing all of her features and then like replicating it. It's like I'm saying I'm Captain Obvious over here, but still, like, that's just so far out that is definitely happening. Yeah.
Jeremy Fawcett says, I listen to every SyncTank, but nobody I know has ever heard of this. Well,
Heard of what?
What we're talking about?
I'm waiting for the next tweet.
Yeah, we can't wait. You let us know. Well, I had thoughts about reality shifting because we're talking about how to shift reality, right? So I was going to ask you first, like, what do you think about that idea? Like, can you shift reality? Like, can you, like, we're already kind of doing it through our choice making from one moment to the next, like you're saying, through time. But how much can you like dilate time if you're late on your way to work and make sure that you're there on time?
There's that, if you're talking about like what you're speaking to the will, what you create, that's possible, that's potential, that's there. But at the same time, like the Philip K. Dick notion that there's like parallel existences that are that exist kind of simultaneously, like there's different routes it could have taken. They're kind of like tree branches dividing, and they go in these different directions or whatever, and we're finding ourselves in one based on, as a reflection of whatever our conception is. Like, I'm more open to that than I am like manipulating it through the will in any like sense beyond like the choices that we make in the present moment, like in like a profound way. Like the underlying like dynamics of the thing are kind of set. It's just like I do entertain that, like that ballast loop idea, though, that the screen between us and that too could be more fragile than we realize.
Can you pop into a universe where your son's no longer dead or something like that?
Yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah. Or just that, but then along with everything else that comes with it, like he believed that certain books that he had written were actually like real. They weren't fiction, even though they were written in the style of fiction. And Flow My Tears, the policeman said, and like this kind of like this police state that was like that that we're moving towards. He sees a future, but it doesn't have to be that, but we're gravitating towards that, or something like that. Like, but then it could change in an instant. Like you could like literally like remove yourself completely from the current paradigm world that you exist within. I don't know. I can entertain that.